It's fake time! Hello and welcome to another Figma review. Today we're going to have a look at the Figma number 426. It's the master female protagonist from Freight Grand Order. I did not originally pick this one up when it came out because I thought she looked a little bit plain, and at the price point I didn't really know if it was worth it. Now a couple of months later I did found it on Army pre-owned section at a pretty decent price, so now we can figure out together if it's worth it or not. I am pleasantly surprised because having a closer look at this figure, there's a lot more detail in it that you might think at first glance. So we have a look at that, but first, before I even dive into that, have a look at the size. She stands at about 14 centimeters to the top of her head, which means we're going up to 5.5 inches tall. For your size comparisons, I have here's Jalter, Super 7 He-Man, a Master of the Universe, SH Figure Arts Master Bison, and Darkseid. Overall look in detail, starting off with the eyes. There's an extra amount of detail that went into that, an extra amount of work. It looks very nice. Also the hair sculpt looks lively. There's a lot of strands going down and a little kind of braid that goes on over there. Not really braid, but you know what I mean. Then you have the entire body, and while I was saying, you have all these seams on the outfit. You don't even see that before. All throughout it, also in the back, just that much of a little bit of added detail. It's very much appreciated, and it does go a long way. What also goes a long way is a clean paint job. And this figure, gasp, delivers on that for the most part. I mean, the gray line in the front is a little bit iffy, and you could argue that the gold does not line up 100%, but you can only tell when I'm zoomed in as much. Honestly, inspecting the figure just through my own eyes and not through the lens of the camera, I did not notice any of that. You have the nice logo in the front around, well, kind of like a choker, and the gold on the belt buckles all throughout it. And you have a big black belt with half some bleeding over there. Is that bleeding or is that? No, I guess just not completely cleanly painted, but it's alright. You have the emblem symbol on the hand and the gray lines. And we go down to the skirt. The gray line here, again, is not the greatest, but it's alright. And it's pantsu time, as whoops, sorry about that. But yeah, it's black pantsu. It's more like part of her pantyhose, which seems to be a little bit brightish, a little bit more shiny than the skirt, so that looks good. And, wow, is that a feature now, or did I just not get it back in cleanly enough? But anyway, going down to the boots, have some heels and more lines on there. A little bit of wrinkly stuff going on, just to add a little bit more detail. And what's going on in the front over there? Seems like they have a little bit too much paint that was covered in there, and it left some bubbles and left some holes. So that's kind of weird, but regardless of that, you know, it's still a pretty simple design, but honestly it does offer a lot more than I expected in the first place. Surprisingly enough, almost the same thing can be said for your articulation. The hair is on a ball, just connected, not a ball hinge, because it's kind of a little bit blocked by the hair band, but it does move all the way around. It has some wiggle motion, and you could take the hairband off if you wanted to. Just pull this out, and then you take this off, and it has more rotation then, but obviously it wouldn't look so nice because the big pack still sticking out. For your head articulation goes forward, doesn't really go that much to the back because of the hair. They left a little bit, just enough to get just a tiny, well, it's more like straightened, but anyway. Side movement is also blocked because of the hair, don't really get much out of that, and it goes all the way around. You can get that. For your shoulders, you can pull it out. It's one of these features where you get a lot more articulation because of that. Also, the rotation in here is very good, and it does go up and it does go down and all the way around. And you can stuck it back in, and it still does a good job. You have like soft plastic for the shoulder part over here covering it, full rotation in it, and a ball hinge in the elbow, goes up and down, and another ball hinge in the hand, back, forth, rotation. Chest area, you don't even see it at first glance, but there is some rotation. It's not the greatest, but considering that the conversion over here looks very clean, and I didn't even notice there was anything at first glance. Like looking at it from the front, you might think there's nothing going on in the chest area at all. So that's very nice, has some side to side. And just, like I'm saying, a little bit of wiggle motion, but it does get the job done. The skirt is cut up in the front a little bit. so you can lift up the legs, doesn't have a lot of problems with that. Goes outside and does also go to the back very nicely. Also, you got the entire hip part, which does rotate, and you also can pull this out just for some, well, I guess mostly sitting poses and just a little bit of extra movement, hip movement, side to side. It's pretty good. And then the knee, simple ball hinge, and for your boot, for your foot, goes back, forward, and does tilt side to side. Again, very much appreciated and a lot more impressive than I thought. For the accessories, I feel like it's a lot more standard, and as such you have fist hands, you have holding hands, and you have this one kind of like a little bit folded hand, and these two, and this one is specifically for your apple or orange. It's either like a golden apple or it's like an orange, I don't know what it's supposed to be. It has a hole on the side over there, and a little bit more detail on top of it. I'm afraid it's falling out of my hand, so I'm not fiddling around with it anymore. I'm just trying to get that on there. There you go. I like that hard connection. So then you have these kind of little gems or prisms or whatever it's called, whatever it's supposed to be. Not quite sure of it, but it is see-through with some blue and a little bit of purplish stuff going on, a little bit pink purple. So that's cool. Also very spiky. Then we have card, gold, and some symbols on the back of it. Looks pretty good, looks pretty clean. And for the faces, you have one happy face and one yelling face with the teeth showing. Extra amount of detail. Eyes look great, same thing. Then you got the Figma base, which has like an FGO copyrighted thing, FGO Type Moon project made in China. And the Figma back included with every Figma ever. And it's gonna bring me to the final thoughts and what has been the theme of this entire review. What have I said over and over again? I didn't pick this up because I thought it was boring. Oh, this is better than I expected. It looks better than I expected. It articulates better than I expected. As such, that is really all I can say. It's a lot better than I expected, and at first glance it looks actually not that impressive. But having the figure, it's actually pretty good. They really went the extra mile in terms of articulation and just detail in the figure itself. The accessories are pretty, you know, it's alright. There's nothing mind-blowingly in there, but I guess she comes with everything she really needs. As the protagonist, I don't really know what else you would add. So, yeah, I do recommend this one, especially since we have that many servants and not really any master protagonists. Well, not a lot of them. So this is actually a welcome addition to your Fate collection. In hindsight, really. And yeah, I recommend this one. That's gonna do it, guys. As usual, thank you very much for watching. Don't forget, if you enjoyed this review, hit it up with a like and subscribe to the channel so you can stay tuned for more figure reviews, card game stuff, and whatever the female protagonist wants. Like maybe some more accessories, but it's alright.